You're listening to the BBM Global Network with 25 years in broadcast audio and video production. Our passionate team creates content and marketing for the world of Internet Talk Radio. If you've got a passion, come join us at bbmglobalnetwork.com. The BBM Global Network. Your voice is now heard.
We all need self-expression. The most effective way to express ourselves is through words. But according to the Stuttering Foundation, close to 80 million people worldwide stutter today. This is Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. After years of practicing conventional speech therapy, Anna Deeter has pioneered a new and effective approach to this debilitating habit. So now, please welcome the host of Live Stutter-Free, Anna Deeter.
Happy Friday, my dear friends. You are listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter, on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And our today's discussion will be a little bit different. I have accumulated a few questions from you, my dear listeners, and from those of you who I have been in contact through various social media places, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, I am there. So I have selected the most frequently asked questions about speech and stuttering. And I will answer as many of them as the time will permit, and I will give as many details as I feel like you would need to know. Once again, the information I'm sharing in this show, Live Stutter-Free, is a revolutionary information. I'm sure you can find some pieces of it here, there. Every program in the world may have a little bit of the truth. But what's amazing about the Etalon Speech Gymnastics is that in only 3 days, we offer so much information to people that they are able to simply wake up from the nightmare of misinformation that they have been in for practically most of their lives. But first, before we go to your questions, let me present my opening statement. Dear people who stutter, and those who have a loved one who experiences difficulty developing adequate speaking skills, I refer to your consciousness. I refer to your common sense. This morning, I have watched the YouTube video with a report on errors in physics. This report was presented at one well-known university by the member of Russian Science Academy. It was in Russian language, but the main points were: all today's study books about physics have so many scientific errors that they need to be rewritten completely. And the Russian Science Academy, the way it is today, must be reorganized because of the number of various PhD professors, members of Science Academy in Russia and international science academies. They have been awarded for their discoveries that do not resonate with reality as we know it today. We live in amazing times. Thanks to internet, we learn so much shocking truth every day. And it is not easy to comprehend and digest it for most of us. And discovery of truth about so-called speech fluency disorders is one of these humans' revelations. The mystery of stuttering is solved. Its precise cause, mechanism, and definitive solution for its complete 100% elimination in a very short time have been discovered. People stutter because they have a set of stupor blocks that restrict stutterers' freedom to move with ease their organs, just like everyone else does. You people who stutter know very well that these blocks that you feel when you speak, you feel you have a block, these blocks enslave you. They don't let you be who you want to be and who you were born to be. I have great, shocking news for you. Your stupor blocks must and can be removed today. According to the natural law of free will, you can liberate yourself if you choose to do so. Dear people who stutter, you are conscious creatures. Mother Nature has granted you, as anyone else, this unique ability to understand and learn information through words. Other animals, not like humans, other animals do not have such ability. And this is why we people have become their masters. Stuttering can be first solved with the power of our mind, not your body. Stuttering can be solved with the power of our mind and your increased awareness of reality, your awakening from the nightmare of misinformation. You need to understand that your speech action really is what it is. You need to understand it. In reality, speaking means playing music on your speech instrument according to your desire at the present moment. Each of us has a musical instrument called speech instrument, speech apparatus. We adjust to this instrument in order to play this or that melody, word that we want at the moment. Our speaking always works according to our desires, needs, and wishes at the present moment. It goes like this. I want to play this word melody. I say it. I want not to play this word melody. I will not say it. I will remain silent. I want to play another word melody. I will utter another word. Today's bitter reality is that unfortunately stutterers' relationship with their own speech instrument is like relationship of a monkey with a phone. We're coming to the commercial break. When we come back, I will finish up my analogy. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
You are listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host Anna Deeter on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And we started talking about the relationship that a person who stutters has with his own speech instrument. that he is supposed to know better than anything. He's supposed to adjust to use so he could speak adequately. So unfortunately today, this is a bitter reality. I hope you don't take it offensively. I'm here not to offend anybody. I'm just giving the bitter truth. And as I said again, it's a bitter reality. Today, the stutterer's relationship with their own speech instrument is like the relationship of a monkey with a phone. Imagine a monkey girl. Give her the phone and tell her to dial someone's number. Tell her to call someone. She will squeeze in her hand the phone. She will begin tapping on it. She may blow on it. She may lick it. She may chew on it. She may do all kinds of things. Even if by accident she may push the right button and she may manage to call someone, to make a phone call right after someone's hello on the other end of the phone, the monkey will get scared. She will drop the phone, scream, and run away. Why? Because she is an animal. She has no clue what this device is about. She has no clue how to operate this instrument. And what we do not know always scares us. I'm going to repeat this phrase. It is always scary for us. It is always creates different phobias when we don't know something. When we are about to do something that we have no clue what it is and how to do it adequately. It always scares us. But you people who stutter are people. You are conscious creatures, right? So you can learn the basic mechanism of your speech instrument. You can discover and begin to follow precise instructions of its adequate operation, and then you will stop being afraid of this simple instrument. I am Anna Deeter, a passionate pioneer of a brand new profession called Etalon Speech Education. Once again, education, not any type of medical influence, medical impact, therapeutical procedure. It is my mission to bring sanity back to so many confused, my fellow humans. I am working 24/7 for those of you who are ready to learn information and to get rid of misinformation that we all have a lot in our heads. So I am ready here to help you to learn information so you could liberate yourself from stuttering slavery based on misinformation in your mind. As an Etalon educator, I have been trained to judge people by the way they ask a question. Because when people even write to me their question, sometimes they say, how do you know? You don't know me. I haven't talked to you. You have never met me. But I have been trained. You need to understand. I have been trained. I have skills to clearly understand what a person means, what information and misinformation he has in his mind when I see the words, even of a text message. So when I see the words, I understand what this person believes, what this person knows, and what this person still doesn't know and need to learn. I hope you understand what I mean. So here is the first question. I will take a lot of time answering it because this question just has it all. I have a stuttering problem since my childhood. I want to cure it. I visited several speech therapists, but they did not help much. Please give me tips or techniques to cure my stuttering problem easily as soon as possible. So, misinformation number one. The person who wrote this message really truly believes that he or she, maybe it looks like he has a stuttering problem, and it is a medical problem because he keeps looking for a cure. And if you're familiar with words, with the meaning of the word, cure means a medical treatment, treating something medically, cure. So misinformation number one, I need a cure. No, you don't need a cure because you're not sick. You are 100% healthy individual with a healthy body, with a healthy mind. You are just misinformed. What you believe is misinformation, and you act according to this misinformation. So all you need is to have information. Now let's go to the next part. This is misinformation number two, that a person went to speech therapists. He believed, maybe he or his family believed, because the whole society believes that. It's not one person, it's millions of people. The whole society believes that speech therapists, who are representatives of the allopathic medical profession, allopathic. If you don't know the meaning of the word, go Google it. I love internet. You can find any information you want. Just search for the word allopathic. Okay, allopathic medicine, what it means. Speech therapists and pathologists are representatives of the allopathic medicine. So the person believes that he requires a cure and that speech therapists, these medical professionals, can help him. And of course, he learned the hard way that they didn't help much, right? So again, the second commercial break. When we come back, I will continue answering this question. Stay tuned. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
And we are back, Live Stutter-Free, with your host Anna Deeter on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. So let me read the question again because we got interrupted with a commercial break. So the question is, I have a stuttering problem since my childhood. I want to cure it. I visited several speech therapists, but they did not help much. Please give me tips or techniques to cure my stuttering problem easily as soon as possible. So the first misinformation is that the person believes that he is sick and needs a cure. The second one, he believes, it's again misinformation, that allopathic medical professionals, speech therapists, pathologists can help, can cure him. Misinformation number three is that, of course, because he's sick, he needs tips and techniques. He still keeps looking for crutches. And if you kind of see that all the other misinformations based on the very first one, I am sick, I need some kind of artificial methods because I am a disabled person. I cannot do it on my own. It's like, if I cannot walk on my own, I'm gonna start looking for crutches. I'm gonna walk with a crutch, right? Because I cannot walk on my own, my leg is broken, or maybe some limbs are missing or something, right? But in case of people who stutter, this is a total misinformation for a very simple reason. You are not sick. You are healthy. You have totally healthy body. The problem is that your mind is filled with misinformations. So you don't need tips, you don't need techniques, you simply need to get unblocked, to get rid of the stupor blocks that restrict you to use your speech instrument in the way everyone else uses, easily, freely. It restricts you. You have a block. You need to get unblocked. And you also need to learn information, to substitute all the misinformation with information. I just want to put it in a very simple way. There is misinformation, it causes you to stutter. And there is information, it makes you a normal speaker almost instantly, right away. You don't need to spend time and time and time to do anything else. I mean, to look for different tips and tricks and techniques and methods and crutches. No, all you need is to learn the information, the adequate information. So, and believe it or not, there is another misinformation in just one message. When a person asked for someone to cure him, to solve his problem easily as soon as possible. These are the words I hear so much. Easily, as soon as possible. I need to get my life back. Help me. My life depends on you. Help me. These all are pieces of misinformation. Why? Number one, no one can learn to speak for you adequately. No one can make sure that you stick to the Etalon speech norms. No one can do it for you but you. Just like stuttering cure is useless, stuttering treatment is useless, methods, tips, tricks, techniques, they're all useless because they are coming not from you. They are coming from someone who created them. It may work for one person, okay? But this person is not like you. You have totally different needs. You have totally different blocks, okay, that restrict your freedom. So, and in order to do it easily as soon as possible, you would have to get the information as soon as possible. I want to repeat that. In order to solve your problem as soon as possible, you need to get rid of misinformation as soon as possible. You need to substitute misinformation with information as soon as possible. So the summary, the answer to the question, yes, I can, of course, assist you, but I cannot cure you because I'm not a doctor and you are not an ill patient. I can give you the information. I can explain to you the mechanism of the speech, how it happens. I can explain how our speech instrument works. What is it that all people on the planet do, speaking all kinds of languages? It doesn't matter what language we speak. We all use our speech instrument in the same way. When you understand how to use your speech instrument, and when you begin doing exactly what other normal people do, your stuttering disappears instantly. You can solve your problem right away, instantly. But unfortunately, people who stutter never even ask. They don't even ask this question. When I ask them, why do you stutter? Why do you do this? What is the cause? What is the reason for you to make so many mistakes in your speech? They don't know. And here is where the speculation begins. They use whatever they heard from others who are also confused. They've heard from them, there is something is wrong with my brain. It's wired incorrectly. I have a bad gene. I am nervous at the moment, something is wrong with me, and at the end they will always tell me, I don't know. That's the bottom line. And again, when you don't know, it scares you. When you don't know exactly what you want in your life, you can never perform this or that action adequately. Never ever. What's interesting that every stutterer has his own blocks and his own versions about what stuttering is. So I am here for you to help you to kind of spot what misinformation you have in your head right now, and to guide you so you could substitute this misinformation with information again. We are again getting to the next commercial break. After we come back, I will continue telling about amazing, revolutionary things. This is information for you. Stay tuned. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
Thank you so much for listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host Anna Deeter on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. So I am still answering one question, believe it or not, the very first question. And I was telling you that every stutterer has 5 to 20 versions of what stuttering is. They all speculate in the best way they can. And their speculations, unfortunately, are also based on lots of misinformation that they have in their head. So, and it is my job to help you to spot misinformation that you have and to guide you to substitute the misinformation that you have in your head with information. And because before we can do anything, we need to know precisely what is it that we want to do at this moment. So stutterers usually say, I want to say a word. I want to say a sentence. But unfortunately, even this kind of desire, this wish that they express, it is kind of blurry for them. Not for me, for them. Why? Because if I ask them, what do you mean by I want to say? They look at me like puzzled. What do you mean say? What do you mean I want to say a word? What do you mean by this term, word? What does it mean to say a sentence? These are all little things that stutterers usually have no clue what it is. And if they do know, it's usually misinformation. This is why I'm going to begin giving you straightforward information about what it is, speaking. What does it mean to speak? I have given you a little bit of introduction that speaking means playing music on the speech instrument according to our wish at this moment, according to our desire. So the bottom line, we have a speech instrument. And just like any musical instrument that we play, before we can become masters of playing any musical instrument, we spend some time adjusting to it. Let's say you want to play a piano. Your parents, when you were young, your parents bought you a piano. You sat at this piano and you wanted to learn how to play. How would you play first time? Boom, 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 making a lot of noise and dissonance. Would you be able to play it? No, you wouldn't be. Is it because you are sick? Is it because you are disabled? That's why you cannot play? No, of course not. You just need some time to figure it out. to look like, for example, I remember when I was a young girl and we had a piano in Russia in my house. I remember it was huge piece of furniture, and I was so curious to see what's inside of this piano. I would open the cover and I would look inside, and I saw a lot of little white hammers. I saw a lot of strings inside of the piano, thicker and thinner. I would touch them. I would stick my little hand inside, touch them, like make them sound because I was touching them. I was so fascinated by the way this piano was built. That was the time I learned how it's built. I learned the principle that, okay, when I push the key on the piano, these little hammers hit the strings, and the piano makes noise. That's how it works. So this is a very simple principle. Before we can learn how to operate any instrument, musical instrument or a device, we need to know the basics. You don't need to know much, just the basic principles. That's how it works. Okay. Also, you need to learn how to operate this device. So when I wanted to learn how to play piano, I would just, I know how it works. I know what's the principle of it, how it's built, but now let's see how I'm gonna operate it. I would sit on the little chair, I would hit the key and listen to the sound I would extract. Wow, this is cool! I can do it, I can play piano! But of course, the way I played was funny, people probably would laugh at me and so on. So, only when my parents took me to the piano teacher, and I would have to sit down by the piano teacher, and the piano teacher would show me how to put my fingers, and I would have to sit for hours learning how to adjust my fingers, the parts of my body, to this instrument. I would have to adjust myself how to operate this instrument. I wouldn't be just sitting and waiting how this device is going to play. Of course not. I would be working hard, adjusting myself. But unfortunately, people who stutter have no clue how their device is built, how their speech instrument is built. They have to know it, they have to learn the principle, the mechanism, how this device instrument works. And here it is. I'm going to give you very simple basics today. I don't think I have enough time. I will continue next show, or maybe next show I'm going to have another former student that I think is going to make it from UK. I'm going to be able to interview him. But anyway, so here it is. Speaking. This is how we speak. We can speak like this. We can speak whispering, right? You could still hear me when I was whispering. And we can speak loud. And we can speak louder. So we can operate our speech instrument in the way we want. And we can do it as loud as we want. What we do, we let the flow of some gas mixture out of our lungs. I know that you probably have heard, I'm sure that you have heard that people speak on oxygen. People need to breathe in some air, to inhale air so they could speak. This is misinformation. Why? Because we inhale oxygen. You heard about that, right? The mixture of the air that we inhale is oxygen mostly. But the mixture of a gas that we speak on doesn't have oxygen. It's a carbon dioxide. Just for a second, imagine what we inhale is totally different from what we use to speak. Do you see that? Commercial break is coming. When we come back, I will continue. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
Let's continue Live Stutter-Free with your host Anna Deeter on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Yes, when we speak and when we inhale, we use different types of gas. I want you to understand it once again. Inhalation means inhaling oxygen. You cannot argue about that, right? But when we squeeze the content of our lungs out, it is not oxygen, it's a mixture of gases, where mostly is carbon dioxide. For brevity, I'm gonna call it CO2 because I am going to talk about it a lot right now. Our speech instrument is very simple. It basically has 3 ingredients, and I'm talking right now not about your mind because this is different. I'm talking about your physical body, the matter, the physical parts of your body-mind machine, which is called speech organs, muscles. So number 1, the first ingredient of your speech apparatus is our lungs. Yes, each of us has a bag, a container with air. And I want to emphasize that the air, my dear, is in the lungs. That's how Mother Nature equipped us. There is no air anywhere else that we use for speech. It's in the lungs. However, it is not the same air that we breathe in. We inhale the air, as I explained to you. We inhale oxygen, not for speaking. We inhale the air, the oxygen, for the oxygen to get in our blood flow. So the oxygen would feed our brain cells, okay? Not for just throwing it out of the body right away with speech. No, I'm gonna repeat it again. We breathe in oxygen not to get rid of it right away with speech. No, we need oxygen for our brain, to feed the brain. However, stutterers are taught to do a lot of breathing exercises. They keep practicing breathing, and what happens? They inhale a lot of oxygen and they block the amount of carbon dioxide coming out of their lungs, because carbon dioxide keeps producing all the time. It's a waste gas. This is what carbon dioxide is. Carbon dioxide ejection is the voluntary process that we have when we speak. So when we get rid of carbon dioxide, we get rid of the waste gas in the same way how the car, when the car drives and there is engine working inside of the car, so what happens? There is exhaust gas coming out of the car. The car gets rid of the waste gas, exhaust. This is what we have. Our body constantly produces the waste gas called CO2, and we constantly get rid of it. How it happens? It happens in 2 ways. Way number 1, when we simply exhale through breathing. When we breathe, we just exhale and we get rid of carbon dioxide. And the other way, we get rid of carbon dioxide when we speak. However, I don't like to even use the word exhalation. This could be exhalation when we breathe, yes. But when we speak, this is already not exhalation. This is already throwing out exhaust. This is an ejection of the waste gas, CO2. So how does it happen? Our lungs is built as a sponge. Go to your kitchen, get a sponge, and look at it. This is the principle how your lungs work. It's a sponge. Or another analogy I have, it's like a bicycle horn. And for those of you who see this talk recorded, you can see me holding the bicycle horn with a rubber ball. So our lungs work exactly in the same principle. The sponge and the rubber ball on the bicycle horn work on the same principle. In order to get rid of the content, to squeeze out the content of the sponge or of this rubber ball, we need to apply some power. We need to squeeze it. See? Those of you who are listening to me right now heard the nasty noise of a bicycle horn. See? See, it works. But I have to squeeze it. I have to apply a little bit of force. It's not much because, if you ever played with a sponge, like go wring out the sponge, just almost no force. But it's a voluntarily action. If I want to get rid of the content of this horn, in this case of the horn, it's air, I need to squeeze the rubber ball. Okay, what's wrong with my rubber ball? It doesn't make good noise anymore. Okay, but in order for me to get the air, in this case of the horn, back in, like let's see, I squeeze it. Now I want the air to get in. Do I need to do anything? No, I don't. It pops up. It expands automatically on its own. This is how our lungs work. In order to get rid of the content, we need to squeeze them. We have special muscles, intercostal muscles, to squeeze the content of our lungs. It's voluntarily action of our body. I want to make noise. I squeeze my lungs. The air is coming from my lungs. Okay? So the last commercial breaks, we're going to finish this thought when we come back. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
On Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And I'm still answering the very first question because that question had so much misinformation that I decided to pick it. So the bottom line is we do not use the air that we inhale for speaking. I want to kind of engrave it in your mind. The air that you inhale, we never use. And when you begin inhaling the oxygen, guess what happens? You block the carbon dioxide that you have in your lungs constantly producing. And the moment when you attempt to speak, there is no carbon dioxide because you overload your lungs with oxygen. You kind of puff like a turkey. Too much air! And very often it happens that because stutterers keep breathing in, inhaling oxygen, they block the exit of carbon dioxide. They develop different medical conditions. They may, because of what they are doing. They become, what's the call of this medical condition? Hypoxia. Okay, the brain is starving, it needs oxygen. But because there is too much carbon dioxide and it doesn't come out, the brain cannot get oxygen. So once again, your lungs are just like a sponge. You have no business inhaling. Forget about it. It expands automatically. Your job is to squeeze the content out of it. Okay, this is your job, yes. It's voluntary action. But you have no business to inhale and focus on any breathing practice. All these breathing exercises are a complete misinformation. The more breathing practice you perform, the worse your speech becomes. The more you harm your speech, the further away you are getting from the normal, simple, easy to perform speaking actions. So once again, we have 3 ingredients in our speech instrument. It's our lungs, a sponge, it's a pipe right here, and it's an exit hole, just like a bicycle horn. It's simple. This is what we have for our speech instrument. It's a bicycle horn. And our lungs are the sponge or a collection of little bicycle horns, this rubber ball with air containers. So when we speak, we must make sure that we not exhale. No, we can exhale like this. This is exhalation. Yes, I'm getting rid of my CO2. But when I involve my vocal cords, I can get rid of carbon dioxide like this. E, ah, o, oo, or just words. So the bottom line is we're coming to the end of the show. So you don't want to miss the next show because I will invite another Stutter-Free Etalon graduate who has been unblocked a few years ago. I don't even remember how many, and he is from United Kingdom, so he speaks English as a first language. So talk to you in a week. I cannot wait to talk to you. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
You've been listening to the BBM Global Network. The ideas, views, and opinions of this broadcast are those of the participants of the program and are not necessarily the ideas, views, and opinions of the BBM Global Network Company.